I'd like to introduce Sheryl Worthington Turgeon. She's the owner and founder of Your Health Potential, nutrition and vital living coach. She's the Boston radio show host and columnist of New England Magazine, and she's an integrative nutritionist. She lost 40 pounds helping other women.
I help women to come alive by eating whole, fresh foods, celebrating their spirits, and achieving their dreams. Hi, I'm Sheryl Worthington Turgeon, health, nutrition, and vital living coach with Your Health Potential. My passion is really to empower women, and that starts with eating whole, fresh foods, and that really starts with the family, because if you empower women, you empower the family. We have, in American society, gotten far away from our family dinners, for example. And you know, when you all sit down to eat together, an amazing thing happens. We start communicating. It tightens the bonds between family members. And something that I noticed early on when my husband and I started this journey of eating whole, fresh foods is that when you eat the same foods, you actually start getting in sync with one another energetically. And the whole family begins to act more as a unit. It's a wonderful thing. And the stronger the family, the more we uplift our communities. And, you know, if the mother is serving healthy food, she's really empowering the family. She's teaching her children how to eat well, which will serve them for the rest of their lives. When the children are eating well, they do better in school, behavior problems disappear, children start to come alive just like their parents do. For example, there was a study that was done. There have been many, as a matter of fact, but there was a study that was done where they brought more whole foods into a school system. And that's all they were feeding the children. They saw the behavior problems, and this was a tough school. They saw the behavior problems diminish significantly. They've also seen, in another study, this was fascinating, this was in New York City, and they took adults and put them in a hotel where they had no access to outside media. And what they would do is bring them to the same room every day for their meals. On one side of the room was all the processed food you could eat. You know, the burgers, the fries, the chicken, you name it, sodas. On the other side of the room was a buffet of fresh whole vegetables, salads, delicious foods. Well, as the week started, everyone was going to the processed foods. By the week's end, everyone was going to the whole fresh foods. The body knows what it really needs, and when it's not bombarded with subtle messages or not so subtle messages from advertisers, it will go toward what will serve it the best. My own journey started about 21 years ago when I finally was released from my struggle with alcohol. And that was really a spiritual experience for me, a transformational experience. I finally reached a point where I went to the park one afternoon and prayed for the courage to share my secret. And, you know, it still brings tears of gratitude to my eyes because my prayers were answered completely and quickly. I was able to talk with someone and let her know that I needed some help. And from there, with the right support, I was really able to break free from my addiction and started living a life that I never could have imagined during my struggle with alcohol. I went back to school and got my master's. I met my soulmate, and eventually I started my own business. When I was working as CEO at a community health center, and I was really getting restless. I knew that I needed to shift my profession. And I was also about 40 pounds overweight. I found the Institute for Integrative Nutrition online, and it just grabbed me. And one night I read every little bit of information I possibly could on that website. I knew it was for me. Well, while I was there, not only did I start gradually making changes in my diet with fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds, but I also started to experiment with foods that I might have been sensitive to. What I would do is for example, I took gluten out of my diet, and I started to feel better. And then I took dairy out of my diet, and I started to feel even better. And what I noticed is the weight just dropped off. It was really amazing, because I had been to places like Weight Watchers and struggled and, tried to get down, and I would get one painful pound per week. And this was easy. It's a gradual change to eating healthier and healthier foods. Your taste buds start to come alive. You lose your taste, really, for the processed foods, which have no energy and really are depleting of your vitamins and your nutrients. In fact, with sugar, our body must use its own vitamins and nutrients in order to metabolize it. So when you start reversing that, your cells come alive. Your hair starts to look better. Your skin looks better. You get more energy. My father said many times to us that he would quote Shakespeare and say that adversity, like an ugly toad, wears yet a precious jewel in its head. And I believe that's true, that women who are suffering from cravings, chronic conditions, addictions, it could be even food sensitivities or menopause. Whatever that pain is, it is the impetus to launching a whole new life. It starts to open you up, and once you start healing those chronic conditions through eating fresh whole foods, through creating a more balanced lifestyle, through fresh air, exercise, connection with other people, your life begins this upward spiral. And just like it can spiral downward with disease, it can also spiral upward with health and vibrancy. And I'm particularly impassioned to work with women in midlife. I feel that many of us have reached a point where we were raised to give and put ourselves last, and now it's our turn. We can really start by giving to ourselves. And what I've learned, and I think my clients have learned, is that when we nurture and nourish ourselves, then we have more to give. And we actually can accomplish our goals much more easily because we start feeling better. And that's the upward spiral. I think emotionally, cravings are really as Carolyn Mays said, they're a yearning for life. And what the craving is really a piece of information about what our body is missing, so that if our lives are not in balance, at integrative nutrition, we look at it like this. We have primary nutrition, which is things in our life that nourish us, like our relationships, our career, our health, our spirituality. And then we have the food that we eat. Well, we can't balance this without balancing this. So emotionally, if there's an area that we're lacking, we will try what I call the quick fix, which is to eat something which temporarily makes us feel better. Unfortunately, though, it is a quick fix. It will not last. So pretty soon, we're going to be craving that again. Whereas if we start to decipher our cravings and figure out what we really need, cravings often go away. And that's something that I help women to do. Marketing by food manufacturers really bombards us day in and day out with what they call greenwashing, for example, which is where you may have an unhealthy food and it's been stripped of its nutrients, and then they've added a few back in, and so they advertise that, you know, such and such cereal has iron and calcium, and really what they're doing is it's dead food that they've added a fraction of the original nutrients back into, and they're telling you it's healthy. Now, if you haven't done the research, you don't know that. And that's what's all around us. So it's really a matter of kind of peeling back the curtain on all of that advertising. In fact, there's a wonderful book by Michael Kessler called The End of Overeating. And that's what he does. He talks about how the food manufacturers are appealing to our natural desire for fat, salt, and sugar. And that really overwhelms us and overwhelms our bodies to the point that we're craving them. And it's a roller coaster, and it's one that's difficult to get off of, especially if you've been practicing it all your life. So I think it takes the outside help of a coach to start to learn what is healthy, what's not, and gradually, in a way that tastes good, that is satisfying to you, to change your eating habits. As we get into balance, our bodies begin working better for us again. For example, we have the hormones leptin and ghrelin, which it's been said that when you're eating processed foods, those hormones don't work. It's like having somebody try to whisper to you at a rock concert. It's just, you're not going to hear them. Whereas when you're eating whole foods, you're getting the nutrients that you need, so that you can trust that if your body is craving sea vegetables, for example, you need that iodine. So you go ahead and eat those until you feel satisfied. That's the main difference, I think. I start by helping my clients to feel better. And as people feel better, we start getting more interested in our interaction with the world. I went through a coaching program to help women to really find their inner passion and be able to express their creative essence. I find that women in midlife are really looking for that. So we have tools that we use. I use a spiritual archetype assessment, for example, which helps us to really define what it is that needs expression. Then we have further tools that we can use to begin building on that and create a business. It could be that someone has retired and wants to express herself in another way through some sort of giving program, whether it's volunteering or getting involved in some sort of foundation. But it's whatever makes a woman come alive. And I really think that as women in this time, we've had such a male-dominated world. It's been male energy that has created many structures. And our earth and our world needs healing. And that's where the feminine energy really needs to rise up. That's what I'm helping women to do. I think the feminine energy has a nurturing, just like our Mother Earth. And that nurturing sense, that ability for rebirth, comes from the feminine energy. I think that men are definitely a part of this too. But we've been sort of lopsided, we've been one-sided for many years. And women, even in my generation, entering the workforce, felt that they had to imitate men in order to succeed. What we're doing now is realizing that we have power as women, and that power is what our universe needs. So that every woman who heals, who comes into her own, who really becomes all that she can be, is adding to the energy that uplifts our world and creates a more beautiful existence. It's a myth that nature is survival of the fittest. I really think that nature it flourishes with cooperation. And you find this among species. When species cooperate, they grow and expand to all that they are. I think women know this. You put women together and we bare our souls with each other. We support each other, we uplift each other, and that's what we can do for the world. I think love is a huge component. That's what we're really all about. And when we make decisions from our heart, that's when we're connecting to our source. And that's when we're really coming into our own as women. That's what I help women to do. It starts with the healing, and then it really spirals up to a more spiritual, more fulfilling existence. I see a world where the barriers have come down, where we realize that we are one. We're one world. And that means that no one should go without. It means that we feed people who are hungry. We help house people who don't have a home. We realize that the love and compassion that we have in our hearts is what uplifts all of us. You know, the saying that we're only as strong as our weakest link. Well, our world realizes that. And it's one of cooperation and oneness and communication that makes us whole. My website is www.yourhealthpotential.com. I can also be reached through my phone. My business phone is 508-689-4633. I really desire to work with women all over the globe through Skype. It's become very easy to reach each other, and help women to feel as great as they can feel, look as great as they can look, and be all that they are. Thank you.